Oh, with Conor McGregor.
With Conor McGregor.
Saying, I want to take this opportunity to apologize to absolutely nobody. I love it.
I don't know.
I love it.
That's what Chris Hipkins should have done.
He actually should have done that.
Just put that clip on his social media.
Just watch out though, because he's going to get the evidence like thrown at him.
That was bold to just like outright. I heard someone say he should have just come out and said no comment. He should have come out and said I'm not talking about it.
Yeah.
But instead he came out and he did say I'm not talking about it, and then he talked about it. He said, no, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Even some of the answers he gave was like her retelling or her version of that's not true. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, it happened. You just don't appreciate her perspective on it.
Yeah, I did do that, but I wasn't mean about it. I did it politely.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
talk to a lawyer.
It's like he said, she said, and I mean, I think everyone can appreciate that it's going to be messy.
Yeah. She'll have the receipts though. Apparently she's in Fiji, which can I just say, after you've come out and you're like, I can't afford food for my kids. Why is she in Fiji?
No, she said 3 years ago when things were
this is way back.
So she wasn't talking about right now.
Right now. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, but even up until a year ago, even on the job front, she was having problems because of the conflict of interest or the perceived conflict of interest.
She works in politics.
Yeah, so she was actually, I think she advised Casey Costello.
Yeah. I saw that was a lot of what the left-wingers were trying to pull out, like, oh, this is a smear job by NZ First. She works for Costello.
Well, she's just trying to work in some political role somewhere.
Yeah. Apparently she doesn't work for Costello currently.
No, that was a year ago, I think.
Yeah. No, he should have just said no comment. It's his personal life. Yeah. Obviously, it's not great. I mean, but how many people in that space have had, affairs or pretty serious moral failure, like privately? What are we going to do? Crucify the guy?
Well, it's I shouldn't. It was supposed to be non-partisan and all that, but like the further left you go, the more insane and potentially criminal and just weird the allegations get. So you start with Napkins, who. His wife comes out and says, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sure, that happens. And then you had Minister of Justice, who was, Labour's Minister of Justice, who was being chased down by police dogs and being drunk 2-3 years ago.
Kitty.
Yeah. And then you have like Michael Wood, who had shares that he never declared. And that's that. You start with the Labour lot, and then you go to the Greens, and you have like actual criminal, record.
I don't know.
No, there is a criminal record for Gorris.
No, don't get me wrong. Like the Greens have certainly had some pretty out there scandals,
and then that
I'm not sure if it works
Benjamin
on a continuum
Boyle guy.
like that, because I think like you get equally difficult stuff from national people, on the central.
In the current scheme of things, give me an example.
Well, right now.
Yeah, so I'm talking about right now. It doesn't look good for the left, and then you go all the way to the left to the crazy people that. No, I shouldn't say the crazy people. What looks like really crazy stuff happening in Te Pāti Māori.
If you look at the spread,
you guys are lost.
No, you look at the spread of like personal scandals over the last 20 years, right? And there are just as many people from national who've had, marital issues, things like what Hipkins is going through, people that have been caught out for white collar crime.
Who?
Okay, well, I'll go back and I can start.
No, I'm sure that this is not at all to say. This is not at all to say the right is.
Siri, who's cheating on their wife?
I'll just go quickly. This is not at all to say that the people on the right are right and moral and virtuous. All that to say to the average voter who's 23 years old, he looks at the current left bloc, and I don't have a particularly long political memory because I don't have a particularly long memory because I haven't been around that long. I look at the left, I'm like, you guys are lost, and there's a real crisis of virtue here.
Yeah.
Te Pāti Māori, you have allegations of dictatorial and authoritarian leadership, which I'm quite frankly not surprised about because that's just how they roll. Because that's kind of the reality of the left. And then you have the Greens, who are also shambles, and then you have these lot who are doing this. So I just think it's quite a telling rhythm.
I just think statistically, if you look at the last 20 years of scandals, you'll see just as many from.
But this is what I would say as well, though. I'm not voting for people who ran 20 years ago. I'm voting for people who are running.
I'm not saying 20 years ago. I'm saying if you look
the last 20 years.
at the consistency, the rate of over the last 2 decades.
But as of right now,
as of
who's running right now,
these guys are in the spotlight.
I think that's what you're trying to say, right? As of who's running right now, those are the two options. It's either.
I'm just saying, exactly to the current voter. Who's just looking at the political spectrum.
Yeah. But if we laid bare history, everyone's equally flawed. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, the two.
The left is the worst.
No. What I'm saying is that there is certainly that the types of scandals from the more sort of extreme left viewpoints are I would agree with that. But I think that there's it's not so much a continuum as you go from the center, and the further you get out, the more like deviant you become in terms of your personal behavior. I'm saying that there's a different mindset that exists I think in those more extreme left wing parties. Whereas if you're looking at Labour, you're still talking about a lot of mainstream New Zealanders.
Yeah.
You know, hey, they don't agree with people from National, but they're not that far away from each other on a lot of things.
The Labour Party.
Yeah, Labour Party and the National Party.
And
that's why some people think, crazily that there could be a grand coalition.
Yeah, some people.
But
Michael Laws, you're wrong.
No, you had 7 good arguments, and I agree with all of them.
Yeah.
He said a lot of what you've said. It feels like I'm being, told by Nick truth again.
But
would you say this though? There's like because what you're saying, it's not a spectrum, or what do you say, continuum? But do you think maybe that it is a spectrum in the sense that the left sits here in terms of the crime they commit, and then the right sits here in terms of the crime they commit, and the spectrum is smartness. So we go from like really petty crime all the way to white collar crime.
I think the problem is that we can't talk about left and right just in those simple terms.
It's too reductive.
And so what I would say, no, because this is what we're all about, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is you can define things by left and right when it comes to, do we agree on the basics? Are there civil liberties for everybody, right?
Yes.
Now, exactly the details, where do you stand on civil liberties, that could be debated. But if you think that democracy is a necessary system under which, all of us kind of functions, operates, then you can be somewhere on the right, somewhere on the left, and hold political opinions that are up for debate.
Yeah.
But if you exist in those thought paradigms that are beyond the democratic system, so you are coming from, say, more the Greens, TPM, kind of perspective, they don't really think that democracy is actually as fundamental as those more mainstream people in New Zealand think. So now there will be some exceptions again within the parties, but by and large, they're talking about things that break the democratic mold. And so I think when you exist in a different thought paradigm and your philosophy of politics,
I think their
like
philosophy and their thought paradigm is far more conducive to criminal behavior because it's born of resentment.
It is because you don't think that you are necessarily accountable to the system the way that most other people assume they're accountable.
They see that as fighting back against the system.
right.
And this applies to the woke right as well. Because because it's ultimately it's a means justifies the ends.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
And
or ends justify the means, I should say.
Aryan.
Bigot. Woke
How
right.
do you attack the left like that? And I'm just grateful.
No,
that
I'm
Nick's
saying
here to
I'm
keep
saying
us
this
in line.
applies, but this applies to the woke right as well.
Exactly.
Right? This is a James Lindsay
it's
argument.
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
It's a circle.
So if you exist in a
come back
different thought
around.
paradigm, right? You could be left or right, but if you exist outside of that democratic thought paradigm,
You're a criminal. So
Aryan, return your
sum
degree
it up.
right now.
you sum it up so well.
sorry, this is the less academic.
No,
this
that's
is
good.
just this is
But
average New Zealand.
would you say that because I tried to straw man Nick and he wouldn't let me, but would you say I got you accurately that you were saying that for the existing voter, the current voter, what appears is a group of people with a lot of controversy and criminal activity versus a group of people who, quite clean.
I
by
can't
comparison.
think off the top of my head, and this is not again. I'm not justifying the people on the right wing of politics today in New Zealand are the most virtuous people. But as I just think, I'm like, okay, what's going on? This house on the right is far more in order in terms of their house is relatively in order.
Okay,
relatively to these people who have just kicked
Right
out.
now, it would seem that way. But I think
for the past 6 years.
you take it.
we're
Come
not
on.
looking at the scale of history.
Come
We're looking at, I'll throw
well,
one at you that people will definitely bring up. Tim Jago.
Who?
The former ACT Party president who got done for sexual assault, contacting
That's
minors.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's a few other things.
Yeah.
And I would say this as well. There is a number of cases that exist in New Zealand with name suppression or that have been locked. That, who knows who those individuals are? There's rumors, there's whispers. We're not going to...
And there are lots of former National Party people that have also got themselves in trouble. Like Roger McClay. Roger McClay was done for significant
When was that?
corruption.
Recently?
So Todd McClay,
Yeah, his
right?
dad.
His father was National Party. Yeah, I mean this happened in just a few years ago.
What was he doing?
Embezzling funds and stuff
Stealing
like that.
Pokemon cards.
Yeah. So
we can let that.
what I would say is, if you're talking about marital, issues and affairs and things like that, I would say
criminal
it's
activity,
just as
really.
common on
You know
on
how,
the National Party as it is a Labour.
You know how lawyers have to pass that, what is it, the good and fit person test?
Yeah,
Why don't we do that for public servants?
that's a pretty low bar for lawyers.
Yeah, I know. Lawyers are... I'm
be a
saying
lawyer.
let's institute like a good and fit person test, you know, like, and if you've been divorced, your ex has to write a letter of recommendation. Do you know? I'm not saying we need to enforce morality here. I'm not saying that we should ban people from being free to do but if your ex will endorse you, like if they'll give $10 to your campaign, you're allowed to. You know what I mean?
I think this is where it gets tricky, though, right?
Like that.
Because you may be an absolute failure when it comes to
Life.
marriages.
Oh, sorry, marriages.
But you could actually be an amazing political leader.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because
So-
because I agree with you. Because what if that's your thing? You're a savant at that, and you're horrible at everything else. You don't do interpersonal relationships well, but you've just got that eye for strategy, for politics. Like, obviously, you're going to have difficult relationships everywhere else in your life because that's just the thing that you're zeroed in on.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
And it could be that actually achieves a lot of good for the country.
Yeah.
And if people continually look to political leaders for their moral guidance, then I think we've got something wrong in the first place.
That's the core issue, eh?
Yeah.
Why are we looking to these people for moral guidance?
Now, that's not to say that I don't think that trust is an important factor with politicians.
Yeah.
But I think politicians that can go, look, yeah, I'm pretty useless at marriages.
Do you think that
That's different to a person saying
if-
it didn't happen
yeah.
at all, like she says, and actually it turns out maybe it did.
But could you say that if there's a guy who's hoeing around and doesn't have a particularly strong marriage,
yeah.
as
Please
a
continue.
as a technical term,
Continue.
yeah,
Continue.
technical term, then it wouldn't be inappropriate to think, oh, I don't know if I can trust you to lead a country because you can't hold a relationship together with it's not. I don't think it's inappropriate to think, oh, I don't know if I trust you because you look at their life
You couldn't
and it's
keep
a
the covenant
shambles
with
and-
one person. How are you going to keep
Yeah,
the covenant
with
with
5 million
people?
people. Yeah,
The
exactly.
difficulty is there is a high rate of infidelity, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Across the population.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is there? I don't know if you can say that with confidence, can you?
Oh,
Is this an
there's a
admission
lot
of guilt?
There's a lot
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
no, there's a lot of stats.
Hey, sorry, how much infidelity? Well, how can we say that?
How many people are unfaithful?
Infidels.
right?
How many infidels?
No, there is.
what
Sadly,
time is it?
there's a very high.
It's good. It's more culturally accepted now, I suppose.
Is
right?
that? Where
I
are
don't
you
know.
guys
Culturally,
living?
I would say that.
What? Sleeping with another man?
Infidelity is cheating.
So I was thinking of like a woman leaving her husband. And
Oh,
sleeping.
okay. I was like, man.
he's been more woke.
Yeah.
The woman
Yeah,
is
why do you think
Tony
only,
with an I, not with a Y.
why do you
Come
think only
on.
men? Why do you think only men cheat? Huh? Oh, is it? I don't.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and within the church, there's a pretty high rate.
I saw this video. It's like a very famous clip now, but this is African American comedian talking about the government. And it's like, people always ask me, why don't you trust the government? Like, why would they lie to you? And he's like, look, I've got one kid.
Yeah.
And I lie
I
to
lie
them
that
all
way
the
all
time.
the time.
And it's like, yeah, sure. And I was talking to Rima the other day, and I said, as a leader, I can imagine, I've never been in this position, but I imagine there is trades that you make in terms of costs and benefits. That's what select committees look at, right? And it would be really tough, like in high stress, high pressure. So
There's also a lot of personalities in politics, right, that are very charismatic.
Yes,
they
that's
draw
right.
people to
That's
them.
right. Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
also go around and they're kind of like, often they're people pleasers because to be effective in politics, you got to know what makes people happy.
And none of this is excuses. It's just
Sure.
acknowledging the reality.
It just makes you probably a little more prone to that.
What you
Yeah.
said before, though, we look to politicians for moral sort of example, right? But do you think that means we now elect people that we like their character as opposed to value their skill set? And now we have all these people who are virtue signal moral do-gooders, but actually don't have no understanding of defense, of economics,
well said.
I would say the ideal political leader is an upright person that can be trusted.
Absolutely.
You know what I was thinking of?
Absolutely.
I was
looking
thinking
at me
I was
right now.
thinking of Winston Churchill.
and he smokes cigars. I'm just putting that out there.
Listen, he was a consummate family man, dedicated to his wife for many, many decades.
Was he?
Absolutely.
Really?
I watched that movie where
Respect.
Gary Oldman played him, and he just looked like he was like a pretty loose unit who made some good decisions.
Yeah.
No. He was.
That's
he
what
was,
I've heard as well. but-
He was he'd sit in the bath and like his secretaries would have to pass stuff through the door. But
That's
I
right,
think
yeah.
I think that's because he was old at that point and didn't really care.
He's a legend. He's a
No,
legend.
the fact is that he was a great family
You
man.
imagine how good someone like Winston Churchill would have been if he had Bluetooth headphones.
What?
I was tidying
How
up
come
this
we have to
morning.
get so serious
listen,
with all these
listen.
topics,
Wait.
mate?
I was tidying up this
Yeah.
morning, and I could listen to an audiobook at the same time.
Oh, you're listening to a book.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you want to listen?
I wasn't listening to that. I was listening to
Sorry.
a book, and I just thought, literally, this is the thought that compared. This is the peak of efficiency
Dude.
because
Hell yeah.
in the past, people couldn't do both of these things.
Wow.
education, and cleaning.
So as I was saying,
Sorry,
if you could be a Winston Churchill who was like an incredible leader,
Yeah.
and also a good family man, right? He loved his kids, loved his wife,
Yeah.
very much about family, spending time with his family when he wasn't working, and if you can find those sorts of people, great. But even he had his detractors, right?
What was he doing prior to politics? He was in there for a long time.
He was in the army. He was a journalist, and then he was a politician from his 20s. But then he had a period where he was out of politics, and he was a writer. He's one of the best-selling, authors in terms of his genres.
What did he write?
Tons of books. He probably wrote more than any other political leader in modern history.
Let me search this up.
What a legend.
Yeah, an amazing historian in terms of a popular historian.
Yeah.
Very good at communicating.
So what we are needing is these people who are multidisciplined, men of character and women of character. Let me just put it out there. Women as well.
People that could excel in a whole lot of domains in life, right?
And these people, I think, in the modern era are not drawn to politics because maybe there's not enough financial incentive.
Yeah.
But, obviously that's not always it. But I think because of the peers that they would be associating themselves with or become guilty by association with, right? They come in and you've got all these politicians who are just social climbers. They haven't done anything to refine or build a skill set. They've just shaken the right hands at the right time and kissed the right babies. And now they are in a position of public office and influence where they present like, oh, I know what I'm doing. They've got no clue. So then you've got people who are high level who are like, well, why would I go join them? I'm just going to be over here and I'm just going to sort myself out over here.
I think too, there are also a lot of politicians who are pretty dedicated family people, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
A few in particular that I've met and interacted with, and I know for a fact that they're really solid family people.
I know we give them a bit of a hard time, but I think that love for family is what's driving a lot of these MPs who are pushing for a social media ban.
Yeah.
Someone like Erica Stanford is an extremely dedicated mum. Someone like Catherine Wedd obviously loves her children. Luxon as well. His kids seem to be really well adjusted and balanced. So good on them. And it just happens that they all work in the National Party. So goes back to your point, doesn't it, Arian?
Yeah, vote.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in Labour also that are for it.
Fair enough.
I'm not, hey, listen, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying that I'm coming from the left
If you
there.
weren't here, we would be in jail right now.
No, honestly.
Nick wasn't here. I just want to make this really clear, Nick. I really appreciate that you always bring another perspective and often the most balanced and well-rounded
Absolutely.
perspective.
Otherwise,
Hey, and if I fail you guys,
I'd be
I will bail you out if
Thank
I
you
have
so
to.
much.
All right.
When we're arrested and sitting in a Chinese jail, I will be praying.
If I can't talk sense into you two and that happens, I will. I promise. I'll put your bond up.
I agree with Nick.
My bond won't be that high.
Okay. Yeah.
They'll be offering a cash reward to come and collect me. Get this guy out of here.
What about the implications for the Labour Party with Hipkins? Right?
Yeah.
I think he's on his way out.
You think
it
so?
may not happen today or tomorrow, but I think he's on his way
November,
out. I think so.
Chris Napkin's out.
But this is the thing. Who replaces him? There's no good option.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Who's good?
I think Carmel Cipollone and I think Kieran McAnulty.
So McNulty, I didn't know any of the drama behind him about how he took his wife's inheritance and spent all the money on his campaign and then divorced her.
Hey, yo, what?
Have you heard this?
No.
How did we miss this? So
what?
McNulty, when he initially ran, used his wife's inheritance, spent all of her money, her life savings, got in, and then divorced her, and she went back to Ireland. She thinks she was Irish.
Oh.
And then so when all of this came out, everyone's like, here's the rise of McNulty. And everyone's like, well, he's no better, because look at this. And it was reported on at the time.
What the heck?
Sure,
Again,
Carmel, and then Barbara Evans.
The thing though is with McAnulty, I think it's that type of story is a little bit difficult though, because you can easily see it one particular way, but it can be a bit more complicated.
What's the other way?
No, I'm saying it. Well, I don't have the inside gossip.
That's another one that's bitten the dust there for me. That's
because I never heard of that story though, but then it came out and everyone's like, oh yeah, that's right. No one defended him. Everyone's like,
people have come back in politics from way worse things. So I'm not saying that, even if that was true, and it could well be true, but what I'm saying is,
I don't know. I have
no. I would say
woman.
honestly, I would say that that is not a career ender. It's certainly not. I don't think it's a leadership ender.
I don't know if I trust him with the economy after he stole his wife's inheritance.
I doubt you were going to vote Labour anyway.
I'm bipartisan.
Don't put me in a box.
I don't want to give you
the only buy I am is bipartisan.
No, what I would say though is that I don't think that he is out of contention for leadership.
Carmel, Barbara,
Yeah,
Barbara
and Barbara
Edmonds.
Edmonds as well. Yeah,
Helen. What about Helen? We met Helen the other week, didn't we, guys?
Oh.
She could be the one. Helen
Yep.
White.
I plead the
Listen,
fifth.
there's
Plead
a
the
few
fifth.
people, and I think after Hipkins, they're going to want someone who is a very different face. And I don't mean this in a belittling way or like demeaning at all, but I think they will want someone who's a bit more diverse in terms of representation.
Okay, here's an idea that I floated with someone the other day. Get Kool-Aid out of opportunity, bring her into lead Labour.
That would never happen.
No, but I'm just saying.
She might leave the
Is
Opposition Party and
is
then
she
become
not,
a Labour.
is she not the type of person who
She's
they
not going to
need?
suddenly become leader.
No, but is she not the sort of person that they need?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think the point is Labour doesn't work that way. The Labour Party doesn't work purely
No, I
on
know,
personality. That you have to know the right people and you've got to work your way.
The
up
thing
through the
thing
party.
is that we can talk about Labour and National all we want based on what we can see.
Yeah.
What we see matters very little to
Yeah,
the overall
exactly.
party, and that's what you're.
But
that's
it's
what you're
totally
speaking
different to National because National, they'll parachute in some person from the corporate world like John Key, Christopher Luxon.
I can't wait for Nick Mowbray to be our Prime Minister. When Nick's in the country as Prime Minister,
Yeah,
making
yeah.
toys.
Free
mate,
toys for everyone. No.
Yeah.
If
Nah,
I get
you'd
a
have to
toy
pay
at
for
the,
them,
if I get a
but-
toy at the polling booth, mate, I'm in.
Yeah.
Nick, please. Zero ballers.
Genuinely though, I
Yeah.
think that Hipkins is on his way out. I think that he
Wow.
won't really recover from this. That doesn't mean he's out of politics, but I don't think he's going to stay the leader.
But
Wow.
it'll be
That's a big
interesting to see
claim.
whether his wife or ex-wife comes back and produces evidence, first of all, and whether he takes legal action. Because he sought legal
I
advice,
don't
but
even think she needs to.
what is the legal action? Defamation. Okay, well, here's the
I
receipts,
don't.
here's the truth.
No, I don't think that. I think that he was consulting his lawyers, but that doesn't mean he's going to take legal
He's
action.
looking at job prospects. Like, how does he resign? Not like in a. I'm not saying.
I
that
think
in
he was looking at defamation and whether there was
Yeah.
any kind of
That's for
potential for a defamation action. But I don't think that he's going to pursue that. I think it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters now whether or not it can be proven and there's receipts for what she's claiming.
Damage is done.
The damage is done, and the whole like media circus
But
that
do you-
will follow because he's trying to like balance the two kind of competing problems here, which is the perception of it, and then like what does that mean for?
Do you not
the
think
party.
though that if it all came down and it was like, oh, actually, there's no proof. She said this completely just slanderous, derogatory things, and
Can't disprove it,
and,
though,
and
that's the
maybe
problem.
and, no, but maybe this. Well, maybe there is like someone from the hospital comes forward and says, actually, no, Chris was here the whole time, and maybe someone finds that she was asked to put that sort of commentary out. Would that not exonerate him? Would that not then be like,
Wouldn't
oh,
exonerate
look,
him.
they're
No.
trying to stop
Really?
him?
Nah.
You don't think it was
No, what are they going to come out and say? That she wasn't wearing a hospital gown. Because the hospitals don't allow you to go home in a hospital gown. Well, lots of people that go, no, actually, that happened to my mum or that happened to to me.
But what
And
happens
like,
if what happens if someone came out? And
Yeah.
It's people going, oh, that doesn't sound reasonable.
What happens if the OBGYN or whoever comes out and say, oh, we were actually there and he was there the whole time and he drove her home, and then again
He's already said he wasn't there.
oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't see him say that.
Yeah. This is my point, is that the more he tries to explain it, the worse it gets.
Chris, if you ever watched
Don't
this, let me
touch
just
it. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I say, rather than get into the weeds about it, I would just go, look, we've had a pretty
Yeah.
difficult time talking to each other since the divorce.
Can we just take a moment to give Chris a little bit of crisis communication
Please,
advice?
go for it.
Chris, there's two words that you really need to learn. No comment. And if you use those words in crisis communication scenarios, as you did with the COVID inquiry, you would be in a much better position right now. So that's all I'm saying.
There we go. Put that
When they
out.
tell you to come out, just say, I don't want to come. I
He has-
don't want to be in front of the inquiry.
He has denied that he was having an affair
With the intern.
while he was still married or while he was still in a relationship. See, that's where it gets tricky.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I mean, Don Brash was, caught out for his affair,
you see, I
all that kind of stuff.
wasn't
Oh, well, there you
politically
go.
engaged
Someone
at
on
that
the
right.
point. So
Someone on the right. There you go.
Sorry to take down your Saints, but
No. I mean, he's certainly not a
and
saint.
if Don Brash never committed that affair, he'd still be a CCP puppet.
See, maybe he is not.
there's
on
an
the
even
right.
bigger call. There we go.
Here we go.
Um,
Here we go.
And if you want
Get us
to take me for defamation, Don,
Ooh.
I'll see you.
yeah, I'll be there too.
Yeah, if my brakes don't get cut on the way.
Oh man,
Nah, it's good. It's good.
we're knocking these rocks over one at a time, aren't we?
I genuinely don't think anybody else is talking about this issue of foreign interference as bluntly as us.
No,
Like, everyone always talks in these like shadows and these like analogies and these allegories, and we're like, China and the CCP is pretty bad, and they're trying to interfere in New Zealand. They're paying people and they're whispering in people's ears. The National Party is definitely like bought out by China. I have no issue saying that. People probably don't agree with us, but prove it wrong.
No, there are too many national MPs that are very happy, very cozy.
Yeah.
With the whole CCP thing.
Well, 14 of them are about to lose their seats, so hopefully they've got a job in a Chinese
hopefully it's not the MP, not their MPs that are actually skeptical of China. So.
No. It's all the list ones.
Yeah.
Nicola Willis.
Yeah, Nicola Willis. Imagine that you go from being the finance minister to being out of a job.
I hate MMP. It's possible, right?
It is possible.
We act together. We love it.
So I think this whole Hipkins thing means that National are much stronger now going into the election.
Barring another controversy.
Well, that's right, of course. But at this moment in time, they're now breathing not a sigh of relief because they've got huge challenges economically to face. But I think if they continue doing what they're doing around the economy and what's happened as a result of the Iran war, then they probably will not be blamed solely for it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make it a happy election.
No, it's not going to be easy at all.
It's like there's this perfect geopolitical storm happening that should really hamper National's chances quite a lot. And then
this happens.
And it's like, these are two completely different scenarios. You potentially cheated on your wife years ago. Potentially the start of World War III. How are these held in tension as like the knife's edge on which an election will be lost?
That's the point, though, is that people are going to look at, people in Labour are going to look at this whole scandal with Hipkins and go, you know what? We honestly could have won this election. It was starting to go our way. Months out, but
just imagine you're standing at the pump.
And then you've blown it.
You're standing at the pump, $5 a litre. Cheap. That bloody Hipkins cheated on his wife.
That's the thing. He's Labour. It's not like it's not even as he's a senior Labour politician. He is the leader of Labour.
He's the leader. Yeah.
And this is going to be their undoing. If they don't deal to it.
Do you reckon there was no one else that wanted to take over the party when Jacinda left? Or was Hipkins genuinely the best option? Because Grant Robinson said he would have got it if he wasn't gay.
That's a crazy thing.
When he left.
Yeah, that's wild.
I was like, that's a big claim.
Sure. I honestly don't think
he probably would have been way better than Napkins.
Well, you know why Robertson said that?
Why?
Because there's a more socially conservative element in Labour.
In Labour, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, particularly a lot of Pacific Island working class kind of, because some of the unions, particularly like in Auckland, right? Yeah. There are some unions that are very, very heavily dominated by Pacific Island.
Yeah, I'll take him any day over.
Who, Grant Robinson?
Yeah. Over
well, he's at a Target now in my hometown.
400K a year. What is it? 700K a year. I think that's a good point about the conservative base.
And so I think a lot of people on the right forget that about Labour.
Yeah.
Is that there is still, and it's decreasing this strong
you reckon?
Conservative minority. But yeah, it is.
I reckon you've nailed it with the ethnic communities that support Labour, because there's a lot of Pacific Island who are Christian, Mormon, all that, who would be Labour supporters. They'll never budge on any of that stuff.
No, but I think I'm not saying that they'll change their minds. What I'm saying is I think that number is decreasing.
Yeah. Do you think it's a generational thing? Do you
I think to some degree, yeah. I think a lot of the next generation who come from Pacific Island families, are more open to different political
secular,
positions.
liberal,
LGBT, and
or they might go
theory
more to the left. Well, but some also are more likely to go to the right and just not even start with Labour and vote on the right.
Yeah, I mean, I think
more often they're going to the left.
My experience with first generation born in New Zealand or second generation born in New Zealand, I think we've talked about it in the past, is they really idolize their heritage, their culture, their ancestry.
Yeah, right.
And then it becomes like this, it makes them extreme in a sense. And they're like super decolonization vibes. And they're like, oh, you guys.
Yeah, so I agree that they're more likely to go left actually.
Yeah.
But,
and then they go to the Greens where they got rid of all their cis white men.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Down the list.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like Efesa Collins, I mean,
he was a legend. He was
obviously he wasn't young, but that was an example of someone who actually had broad appeal because not only was he very left in terms of his politics, but but he still had that kind of foot in the door in terms of the church.
Yeah, that's right.
And that appealed to a lot of people in South Auckland.
That's right. He's a nice guy.
You see Dave Letele? You know Dave Letele?
Yeah.
He was going off about Nicola Willis in South Auckland. Do you see this?
Yeah, he's been very vocal lately.
Oh.
I don't know how I feel about him. Obviously, he does a lot of fantastic work in the community.
Yeah,
and he's a really nice guy. Do you know his Brown Butterbean?
Yeah.
But then I wonder, he's got such a wide reach, such a broad reach. I wonder how he doesn't have other options outside of government funding to like do the work he does. It seems like people know him.
But I think the problem is that the lion's share of funding has always come from the government for these initiatives.
Yeah, and I'd love to have a chat with him and just ask like, what other options and avenues have you explored? Because you obviously are doing the work.
Yeah.
That's what I would say about him. He's doing really good work.
Yeah.
I would love to have a discussion with him and see if he's explored external options and like how many people are donating to him, because he's got such a good brand. He's like well spoken. He sort of represents a lot of people and a lot of views, and he's also not biased. Like in the middle of his frustration with Nicola Willis in South Auckland, he said South Auckland is not the only area struggling.
Yeah.
And so he's got this broad view outside of where he is. How do we help him to get more funding so that it's not all the government should pay for this and pay for that?
I think like at one level he's got a reasonable point to make, which is how come it's people that are struggling already that feel like they're the first to be targeted when there are cost savings to be had, and there are other ways we could trim some fat in the system,
absolutely.
and often it's the consultants who earn $200,000 a year plus. That it will never be in the kind of financial dire straits that a lot of people would be in, and they're still earning the same, if not more, than they were the previous year.
Yeah, how many people have taken a real pay cut? Probably not many.
Exactly.
And I think actually we didn't everyone get a pay rise in Parliament recently, or upcoming pay rise?
Yeah, I mean, there's arguments made around the fact that this is set independently of MPs in terms of
obviously they're not campaigning for it. They're not saying we need a pay rise. I just watched this clip that he had with Ryan Bridge.
Yeah.
And again, beyond his public persona, I don't know him, but I do wonder how there hasn't been more people come forward to support him financially.
Well, sorry, could you give some context as to who
So he
he
runs
is
a
and
food
what
bank. So he runs a food bank and he does a lot of community
Is he a
outreach.
gym guy?
He's based in
he
South
looks quite.
Auckland.
He owns a gym. He was a former boxer, community sort of advocate.
Yeah.
Does a lot of really good work. There's a
Good
lot
on
of
him.
commentary. Helps
Amazing.
young men, young boys. Huge advocate for Pacific and Māori.
Well done.
But is always just personally knows Luxon, has texted Luxon about his issues directly. But that's where I think the issue is. It's not with the work he's doing, it's with how he's trying to fund it. And I just wonder why more
He's
people...
trying to fund the food bank through government funding.
the government. And sure,
opposed
there's
to
a role,
other
you could say there's a role for the state to play in supporting community initiatives like that. But I actually think that if that's your end goal, your only goal, then you are always going to be
I think this is one of the challenges, right? Because, the whole Kids Can movement, what happened was people went, local communities were trying to figure out how to meet the needs of kids that were going to school hungry.
That's right.
And then we said, well, it's such a big problem, we really do need the government to step in.
Yeah.
What's ended up happening is people go, well, I thought the government was sorting that problem out now.
And
And then what happens is that when we have difficult times financially, the government goes, well, we better cut back on this and that.
That's right.
And so then those programs are affected.
Takes away
So
responsibility.
then what happens
from
is
people,
no one in the community is now, through a charitable kind of outlet, trying to address those problems.
nor are they
To
aware.
the degree that we were
Yeah,
before, because everyone thought the government was sorting
That's
it,
right.
and now the government's not, right?
That's
To the degree they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought about him because
Good on him.
I think he does great work.
Yeah.
But, it'd be great to be able to help him.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, support him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Check him out today.
Yeah, check him out, mate. He's got some good stuff.
Yeah, just because he's got criticisms of the coalition government doesn't mean that his work isn't actually valid.
And he is one of those guys who's been critical of the government to their face.
Yeah.
Like he's texted them directly. He's approached them directly. He's not one of these other noobs who sits off and is like, oh, they're being mean to me.
Yeah.
He literally rung Luxon and was like, oh, mate, what's this about?
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing that for? So good on him.
And that's why people who support the coalition shouldn't kind of write people like him off just because he's been critical of the coalition government. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And he's got some very genuine concerns.
Yeah.
He's literally in the thick of it.
Good.
And he's trying to help people all over the country.
Yeah.
He's probably the sort of guy that we were talking about in regards to like who should be in politics, but he's probably also a guy who doesn't have any faith in the system.
Yeah.
He's like, I could be more effective outside.
That's right.
Well, I think a lot of people
Probably
see
true.
that they can have a much greater impact when they're not actually having to comply with the kind of political setup, right?
Yeah.
Should we start a campaign for him without his knowledge?
Let's do it.
Send him $1 billion.
Give a little page.
No, I mean like a political campaign.
Okay.
Just start putting posters up Dave for Prime Minister
Sign him up
everywhere.
for.
He gets door stopped by the media. So you're running. He'd be like, hey, what? What a good guy. I do like him. And he's doing a great job. The Luxon, mate. He's got a chief title.
Yeah.
He's got a
apparently.
Matai title.
Matai, yeah.
It's a long one.
Dude, he said it though. He said
Did
the
he?
whole thing. The media asked him, "Oh, what's your title?" And he said it was like 5 seconds of
Good on him.
And then they went,
Samoan.
oh, well, okay then. So speak some Samoan then.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's like,
yeah,
well, guys, I'm
And
from New
he's
Zealand.
like,
Fail.
yeah, nah, good on him. I thought it was funny the way that the media reported on it, because so there was something that happened where the Samoan Prime Minister supposedly said he asked for the title. Luxon said, "Can I have a title?"
Yeah. That was in Samoan media.
In Samoan media,
Yeah.
apparently. But then the
Yeah.
Samoan Prime Minister came out and denied it and was like, well, I never said that.
Yeah.
So then New Zealand media retracted all of this.
RNZA, they
Yeah,
had to like,
RNZA
go back on
stuff.
it. Yeah.
Luxon asked for a title.
And then publicly, the Samoan Prime Minister
Yeah.
told Luxon not to worry about all of the critics back in New Zealand and gave him his Matai title. And it's like
Yeah.
pretty common. Like, so in Samoa, my understanding is
Yeah.
there's titles, there's Matai titles. My dad's got a title.
Oh, wow.
I've got a cousin who's got a title. So there's certain titles that
How come you don't?
Because I don't speak Samoan.
Is it?
Yeah. So you could get one without speaking Samoan, but it'd be really
Hey, should we
inappropriate.
start a secret campaign for him? To
Yeah,
get a
yeah,
title?
yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of responsibility still in Samoan culture if you have a title.
Yeah.
But there's titles that are owned by families, so your family will have titles and you allocate them. And then there's other ones that are owned by the state, and the state can give those out. One of the titles that's owned by the state is actually my last name. But
Whoa.
it's a last name to me, but it's also a title that
What the
exists. And I'm pretty
That's
sure The Rock has it.
What? Sayuli.
Yeah, yeah. It's his title,
Oh.
it's his Matai name.
Man.
That's
So when I went to the village where that title name is from,
yeah.
they wouldn't believe that that was my name. I was staying at a resort there, like a hotel.
True.
And I had to show them my license and my passport. And they're like,
Whoa.
how did you get this last name? I was like, oh. And this is before I understood anything. I was like, oh, it's just my dad.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He gave it to me, but it's like meant to be like a respected one. Anyway, so he's got one of the state-owned ones.
That's
So what you're saying
lit.
is you're friends with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and you're a chief.
you come from loyalty.
Pretty
Royalty, so
people often mistake me for Dwayne.
Stop surprising us every week.
Dude,
Yeah.
Look at you go.
Often,
Something
often when my shirt's off, people say, "Is that Dwayne?"
Yo. Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
And when I say that, it's usually just people like my wife who
Your
sees
wife.
me with my shirt off,
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
and my
Not
children.
us. Not us.
Um,
yeah.
Then we can
Not-
change. Can we change the topic now?
No. So the title name. The title
Getting
name.
a bit uncomfortable.
Don't take your top off.
That's all.
It is warm in here. I'm gonna be honest. It's pretty warm.
Really?
Anyway, so he's got his title name.
Good on him.
What do you reckon? Is that cultural appropriation?
It's not. If you can't appropriate something if you got given it.
Forced onto it. Forced onto him. I don't think so.
Yeah, to accept it though.
There's
It's not-
something
it's
wrong
not
with cultural
appropriating-
appropriation.
it's not-
What even is called? I don't even know what appropriation.
Cultural appropriation
means,
is taking stuff from another culture and thinking
Why
how
is that
cool
wrong
it is.
though? Like, am I
Well,
culturally appropriating
That's
New
kind
Zealand?
of the point, right? Is it?
When is it? When
really
is it
that wrong?
cultural? When is it
Yeah.
cultural appropriation and when is it cultural appreciation?
Oh, am I
Yeah, sure.
appropriating New Zealand culture by migrating to New Zealand and
Every
speaking
time I eat
English?
sushi,
There's like
Yeah, is that appropriation?
obviously maybe it's in bad taste if you take something from another culture and you make fun of it, right? And you go around like wearing it and
Sure, that's
thinking
bad
it's hilarious.
taste.
like
But-
Aryan and his Indian accent.
But it doesn't
was-
mean
that was for.
it's not illegal to
had
do
purpose
that.
to it.
It may just be in bad
Frowned
taste,
upon,
right?
frowned upon, yeah.
Mm.
Kind of like cheating on your wife with an intern.
But it's
Crazy.
different. It's different if you go, oh, I love using this word because it actually sums up for me how I feel about something, and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
go, oh, you can't say that because that word belongs to this culture,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you're like, well,
kind of like if you integrated Te Reo and you ran into someone who was really hard up on it. Like we've talked about this in the past, and they say, "Oh, stop appropriating our language," because you
Yeah.
said whānau. Or
yeah.
you called
Yeah,
it-
we say
you-
kai,
you-
you
yeah.
you want some kai, and then like it's like no one used to blink an eye at that.
No. Or when you sometimes I just say kia ora when I see people.
Yeah.
But like I've become more cautious because I know some people have a really visceral reaction to it, which I'm so annoyed about. It's like
Do you reckon they're annoyed at that, or the
cares?
fact that you do it with a pukana?
I don't do it. Allegation. Hey, no comment. No comment. As in, I reject those allegations. But it's just like it's become this thing.
I'm just imagining you doing it. Do one.
No, I don't
Just
even,
do one.
No,
Just
I'm
do
not,
one.
I'm not
Like,
doing
come
it.
on.
I'm not doing it.
When did you last clean your tongue?
Show us.
Always. every moment.
I watched the Manosphere documentary. Have you watched it yet?
I haven't.
Nah.
Manosphere with Louis Theroux. He follows 4 different sort of Manosphere creators.
Mm.
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was representative of men in general. I thought it was representative of those men. And it is definitely, yeah, people who watch it and are now like, this is the problem with all young boys. It's like, oh, that's not the message. It's a really fringe set that's out there that is trying to capture young boys. They found these 2 guys in Miami. So they're with this one guy, and then they're going around with him. He's like, oh, let's go get a cup of tea. And he takes them to this tea bar.
Yeah.
And then there's these 2 young guys. When I say young, in their 20s, who are like his disciples. They like just happen to see him. They can't believe they're like, you've saved my life. It's the best day of my life.
Oh.
I'm like, yeah, these are not the impressionable 13 and 12-year-olds that we're worried about. These are grown men who actually probably deserve to be sucked into the pyramid scheme if they're that stupid.
Well, they're like older men.
They're like in their 20s and they're like, this guy saved my life. He showed me that I'm
Which guy were they
valuable.
talking about?
I can't remember Justin something. I can't remember his name.
I don't know them. Yeah.
They're all.
I don't know.
He wears like suits that are like tailored.
You're not a
pretty much to
subscriber
be,
then.
like-
I don't know any of them. Oh, sorry.
So then the other thing that Louis Theroux did was he put money into one of their programs. Like one of their programs that was like, if you pay us $7,000, you make all this money. He lost it all. He like lost all his money, obviously. It's like I've been doing everything they told me to do in terms of trading. It's like gone.
Whoa.
So anyway, if you haven't watched it, I'm not saying that you should watch it, but if you do watch it with a grain of salt to know that it is a really good expose on that specific group of men, but it's not indicative of all young
It's not
men.
some statistical representation of what's happening in the population.
And Louis Theroux is in my opinion, one of the better documentarians out there. So I think he's super credible and does some really good work.
Yeah, I mean, he's sometimes got really obvious political bias on some things, but I still think he asked some very clever questions.
I mean, there was nothing political about this documentary at all. It was more like power dynamic between male and female. Yeah, and trying to explore why these guys are quite misogynistic.
I think this issue though is being used as a political football a lot, and that's not saying that I don't think that there's a lot of issues with this type of manosphere culture that does exist online, and it is starting to work its way into the real world for sure.
Yeah, but not on the scale that I think we're being told. Honestly,
exactly.
It's like people.
That's the problem.
People are trying to nerf the internet and portray all men as these like, especially in a certain age demographic. If you're aged 13 through 30 right now, they're trying to tell you that you're a misogynist, racist, bigot, and it's just not true.
It's interesting though because there are some interesting stats coming out showing that young men now in that sort of younger demographic, so what is it, Gen Y, are much more likely to take what people would consider to be, the patriarchal kind of view of relationships.
Traditional.
Yeah.
So
where they would say, well, women should actually do what their husbands tell them.
But is it men are more likely? Because I saw research where everyone talks about how men are becoming extremist right wing. Actually, the study shows that men have deviated very little over a number of decades, and women have run far, far to the left. And they plotted on a graph. I think it's from the UK.
No, that's what's interesting is that's where it gets quite complex because you do have that happening, like you say. But there are also views being espoused by young men now that you wouldn't have heard 10 years ago. But you would have heard 30 or 40 years ago.
Prior to the feminist experiment.
Yeah.
Where it was like, all women should be in the career space and get a job and da-da-da-da.
And I think whether or not young men for like 10, 20 years ago were like, I just can't say it, but I actually do feel this. I don't know. But what's happening now is they're less apologetic about it, it seems.
I think there might be some men who are like that. I think also there's a lot of men who supported women in the workplace. Like, I think it's great that women have opportunities in careers in the workplace. But you have to, like, we were in Australia, they talk about this a lot. You have to be really upfront about the trade-off because you actually can't have a career and a thriving family life as a woman. There's so much cost on women when it comes to family. You have to carry a baby for 9 months. You've got to birth that baby and feed it and be literally the only source of nourishment for up to a year and a half. The same expense does not...
5 years in some cases.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But the same expense is not extracted from men.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't shy away from being honest with people about that, especially young women.
For sure.
If you want to be a career-driven woman, go for gold, please.
Well, a lot of women are having this conversation now and they're being very open about it and saying, look, honestly, we would love to have had another chance at this. Yeah. But also, there's the complicating factor of the economic pressures because it's so difficult. Very few people can live on a single income now and support like a spouse at home with the kids.
That's the thing. Like, I think a lot of young men, that's their dream, that they would have, not that they would have a woman waiting at home for them barefoot cooking with all their kids running around, but that they would be financially secure enough to provide a lifestyle of no stress outside of
at least for
family.
a few years, right? While they've got the kids young enough that
that's like a very, I think, honorable ambition that you would want to be able to keep your partner at home, to be a homemaker and a wife. And it's not about restricting them or controlling them. It's just about giving them freedom to do the things that actually a lot of women are discovering they really want to do.
And it totally makes sense in this in the respect of 40 years ago, you could buy a home that was 3 to 4 times your annual income, right, in value. Now you're looking at 8, 9, 10 times
Crazy, yeah.
what you would earn in a single year for the value of a home. So what that means is straight away you could say, well, okay, we need 2 incomes.
Yeah.
Otherwise we couldn't keep up with a mortgage. No way.
What do you reckon about women, Arian?
Lots of respect for them, lots of love for them. I do think what we're describing is like
Hospital party.
Yeah. What do you think about all women?
Yeah, make some
Name every
generalizations.
woman. I do think there's a swing where I think maybe 6 to 10 years ago there was this toxic femininity that was like, oh, masculinity is trash and evil, and men should be ashamed of themselves because and now that was a terrible
around
thing.
the Me Too movement.
Sure,
right? Because that was 6 to 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've got this other swing now where it's like, oh, women should submit to men and be slaves of them.
So one overreaction to
yeah,
another,
exactly.
right?
So I do think both are terrible and evil, but I don't think what we're seeing now is new necessarily. It's just indicative of something that happened before and as a reaction to that now. Both of those things call us to the truth in the middle, which I don't necessarily like the idea of the middle, but it's like there are some things that these guys are referring to, and this will come out tomorrow because the Family First thing we did was on this very issue as well. But these guys in this manosphere are referring to issues that appeal to young men, whether you like it or not. They're giving them a vision that actually your life matters. I don't know what they were saying to you 10 years ago, but actually how you live your life is important, and it has influence and it has impact, and you could actually carry some responsibility in that.
So they're speaking to the problem, but they're giving them the wrong solutions.
Terrible
right?
solution.
Yeah.
But what that means is that we've gone from a time where people had no hope or vision, especially for young men, to now that space is being filled with idiots. So it imposes a responsibility on people who say they know better or the truth to speak a better and more hopeful vision to these young men. This is unrelated to anything, but I saw this comment on Luxon's trip to Samoa. He's coming off the plane. He's like, I'm paying $3 for fuel, and you're out here burning jet fuel going to Samoa. What the hell is this? Fix the economy. Oh, that's so funny. I don't think you understand how this works. Yes, he is burning jet fuel going.
The fuel crisis, $4. I saw Chloe found a gas station somewhere. I don't know where this was, but they were at $4.17.
What?
For unleaded.
Yeah, there are some parts of rural New Zealand where
it's real high.
It's
Yeah,
gonna get up
she
there.
looked like she was in the WAPs a little bit, and she did this video maybe yesterday or the day before. She's like, $4 fuel is not theoretical; it's reality here.
That's
and she like shows it. It's
crazy,
like
bro.
$4.17.
Well, and this is the
reckon
problem
it
is
was
that
planned?
rural New Zealand does get hit first and it gets hit hardest.
Is it just because of transport?
Getting
the fuel to
because
them?
you don't have the number of people needing service. It's economies of scale, right?
Yeah,
So you got smaller gas stations, but of course, how do farms in remote areas survive when this is the issue? They will feel it first, and then they have to pass on some of that to
Draw,
the consumer.
baby, draw.
So you were saying the other morning at our team weekly catch up that we do on Monday mornings. Just if anyone wants to come, that's what we do Monday mornings. You were saying you think 6 months pretty rough. The next 6 months, right?
At least,
Yeah, at least, yeah. So what's your sort
because
of?
we haven't felt the full effect at all.
Yeah,
Really?
and you don't
think
see
so?
any respite.
We won't even feel it for another month or two.
Why?
Well, because of the lag effect. We're so far away. It takes a
yeah.
while for oil to get here. Not that they haven't started putting prices up prematurely, in my view, but
and
but
that's
they've been taking quite
but
a
it's
hit
all the
in
knock
terms
on.
of the
It's all the
margins, though.
secondary effects.
So who's putting the fuel
so-
prices up though? So just explain this. So it's the company. It's not the government who's
Supply and demand, right? Not enough oil, still the same amount of demand. So
more demand because people are panic buying.
A little bit more.
Well, a little
demand,
bit, yeah. But at the same time, some people looking ahead and going, okay, well, I better cost save and I better start being more efficient here. So that obviously will start countering it a bit.
Yeah.
The issue is it's the secondary effects.
Yeah.
It's not just what you put in your petrol tank, but it's the fact that farmers, like we talked about, have to be able to run their machinery in order to harvest and to do the work that they do and so on to get product to market. So then those products inevitably have markup because of fuel costs.
That's right.
I mean, some industries, they looked at some of the industries. The first thing and the most noticeable impact will be fisheries. So any kind of seafood related products,
Really?
25% of their operating costs come down to fuel.
Lucky I don't eat any seafood.
Well, yeah. maybe you better get out there and start.
Just from the
Fishing.
wharf,
Yeah, just
fish
start.
off the Waipuna Bridge,
Just
like
get
all
out
those other
there
guys.
in the shallows and just start looking for pippies and.
Should we do
mussels,
some
you
beach?
know?
What do they call it? What we talk about? Beach combing.
Oh,
Should we do some beach combing with Shane
up
Jones?
north.
Some of those beaches have been cleaned out by
Yeah.
what I've heard. But yeah, so there's secondary costs like that.
Yeah.
Farming is one of the biggest affected
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they have high operating
Will they
costs
be
in terms of
the
fuel.
most prioritized though in terms of reserves? Like, will there be some sort of like, no, we need the farms, so we're going to give them preferential?
Oh, for sure.
access? Yeah,
Yep, yep. So certain types of certain industries will get priority,
yeah, yeah.
and then the person who just wants to go to work half an hour away on their own when they could be carpooling with other people,
Yeah, they'll be.
Yeah.
they're going to be like, well, you're not actually essential in this respect. So you better start figuring out solutions, and that's why carpooling, public transport where possible. Not that it is for
Yeah,
everybody,
wow.
but that's going to become,
It's crazy.
I'd be like, obviously, we all work from home by a large degree. We meet
Yep.
a few times a week elsewhere, but
Yep.
the train seems like a good option. Why don't people take the train?
Yeah.
You took the train for a long
that's
time.
where you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
trains. Most of the country doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly.
true.
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
Auckland. Yeah,
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
Basically
for me,
all of New Zealand.
I'd still have to drive. I still have to drive 15 minutes in no traffic to get to the nearest train station if I wanted to go to the city. If I had a
That's
city
true.
job,
That's true.
so
Or if you want to take a bus, that'll take you like 40 minutes, 30 minutes to get from your place to
the bus
Yeah,
lanes
sure,
and everything.
sure.
Yeah,
to that.
and if I want to go to the city, I take the ferry. Right, the ferry
and
costs
that's like bloody $10 away. bro.
$10 a single trip.
really.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you
Oh.
when I was going into the city for the previous job I
Yeah.
had, like 4 days a week, that was $80.
I
It's the
think a
same as
lot of
having a car.
I think a
It's
lot
like
of what's
more,
going to happen
bro.
is going to be a lot more working from home again. So we're going to see similar measures taken like we saw with COVID.
And that saves the individual money, but then that must cost us a lot in terms of productivity. Because working from home, you're not as productive
Yeah, but
unless you're us.
Depends. Yeah.
well, if you're doing an office job though, the argument will still be I could still hit my targets, my
Yeah,
quota
totally.
for the week that way.
If you have a role that requires very little interaction with your peers and you're just an admin pen and paper pusher,
Yeah,
yeah, sure, you could be as productive. But I think there's a cost there in innovation
I
because
think
there's
creative.
something-
I
yeah.
think creative industries for sure will
Yeah.
be impacted. Yeah,
just that water cooler chat, being surrounded by other people, like
Totally.
the things that you just, oh, hey, by the way, did I tell you about this thing? Like,
and you've got to be far
Transfer
more
of
dynamic
information.
and on your
Yeah.
feet, and that's where that collaboration is super important. So I don't think this is an answer long term, but I think in the short term that'll be one of the things we have to do.
yeah,
But what we haven't talked about is the effect on all those petrochemical like derivatives. So
plastics and everything. Yeah.
plastics, which
Especially
is
that
virtually
China
everything.
does. Yeah.
I was talking to a guy.
because China's going to be affected pretty significantly by this.
Yeah.
20% of their oil has come from Iran.
Iran, yeah.
At a discount of like 30 to 60%.
Yeah, sure.
I was talking to a guy who works at the Sistema factory,
Mm.
and I said, "Oh, you
Kind of
guys-"
making like plastic
Yeah,
snap
Tupperware
block, stuff. Yeah.
he does a lot of the machine maintenance. He's an engineer mechanic. But I said, "Oh, have you guys had any talks internally about potential impacts to your production line because of the fuel crisis?"
Yep.
And it was like, "Oh, well, at his level, he hadn't, but higher ups had, and
Yep.
there'll be a huge implication on all these other spaces, as you say." So 6 months minimum, you reckon?
See, in my view is it's not so much will we have petrol, supplied to the degree we need it. It's and like therefore will you basically run out of fuel and not be able to fill up? It's not really that. There are ways to actually manage that. It will come at a cost
At a
to our
huge cost,
economy.
yeah.
But the greater cost is just going to be the cost of living.
Yeah.
Everything will be affected by this.
You said to me the other day you thought it might increase household expenses by $100 a week.
The average household, if things get like carry on the way they are,
Yeah. $5
with
food,
shortage?
Yeah.
it will probably get to that by the end of the year.
Crazy, yeah.
And that's massive. I mean, right now, $20 for some families is huge. you know.
Well, there's this guy that I see every now and then on social media who's doing this series that's so popular, but he's like feeding a family of 5 for $20. And there's a lot of
Yeah,
these sorts of
he's
videos
cool.
that are out
Yeah.
there and really engaging videos, but
Yeah.
it's indicative of the fact that people don't have that much money.
Yeah.
And what we haven't factored in yet is inflation,
Yeah.
which will inevitably go up. It's already starting. There's already awareness of that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, interest rates. And I have very little doubt that interest rates will go up within
Back into the
least once, yeah.
6%.
but by the end of the year. I don't know where they'll end up, but
Yeah.
but I think there's just it's inevitable that pressure will lead to interest rate rises.
Yeah. Oh man,
Crazy.
it's tense times, eh?
Crazy.
So
But-
that means it's more than $100 per family if you have a mortgage.
Yeah.
And how
Fuel.
far does your dollar go?
Exactly. For us, I budget the same amount for fuel every week. So it's like, I'll just keep spending that amount, but it'll just be less and less, obviously.
Your KiwiSaver will take a hit in the meantime as
Mine's
well.
hit. Yeah.
Mine took a
Mine's
hit.
down.
Really?
Yeah.
KiwiSave's down.
Oh, true. I haven't looked at mine.
I have mine in the aggressive.
Yeah,
fund,
same.
I think I've got mine in aggressive as well. I want to buy a house soon, man. What am I going
Dang,
to
I'm
do?
down.
over time, it'll go back up probably, but that's still not the point. Like if you're needing it for something like a house purchase or you're about to retire, it is going to have an impact.
Yeah. Is it quite easy to change over?
Yeah, easy.
You can do it in a moment.
You're still on your app.
Yeah, I should have done it before the war started.
Mine is also down.
Nah, not necessarily.
Well, if I went down to a conservative before the war
Well,
started,
if you sure.
depends on
I mean, but then you would have bet on AI like a year and a half ago.
No, I mean like literally 4 weeks ago. If I just changed it, and then, but no. We'll see what happens. It's only going to last. Trump says it's only another 2-3 weeks. But
no, it's not though. That's the point.
Okay.
The war itself could end in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Let's hope. But the effects of this will go on for much longer.
really,
Absolutely.
What did we bet on last? What did we bet on? I feel like we owe each other a McDonald's meal for something. What did we bet on?
We owe each other, or
yeah.
What are we-
Someone owes someone. Yeah, and you did make a bet, you guys.
I don't know if the
I'm gonna
results are
scroll
out.
back through our.
I don't know if the
group
results
chat.
are out, but should we put another bet on this?
Or what is it?
Well, you reckon 6 months minimum? I reckon.
Brent crude right now is $103.
I'm gonna back DJT, Donald J. Never let me down.
Yeah.
Amen.
He's won me some good stuff in the past.
Specifically, what though? What is it? What are you gonna
What are you
pin your
betting
money
on?
to here?
I think smooth sailing. I think you're gonna go over 6. I'm gonna go under 6.
But
Wait,
wh-
6 what
for
months?
what though?
For cost of living to return to what it was before the war.
Really?
Yep.
I'll take that bet anytime.
Holy,
here we go, people.
holy,
Never done, Donald. Never done.
holy.
So you think that the cost of living will return to pre-Iran war?
I'm just
How
like
are we
late
measuring
January.
cost of living? Are we saying fuel prices?
fuel prices back down to that sort of
We can
Two-
take
two and a
it
bit.
as an aggregate. Like
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
Okay, so just
No,
say
okay.
it's like
You're gonna be the
the measurement.
measurement. You're the
Right,
arbitrator
right,
of
right.
this.
You're not going to suddenly go, oh, hold on, but adjusting for inflation, because that's the whole point.
Nah, he studied economics.
I'll be
This
the
guy knows.
economist
He did
because
global
I know
studies.
everything about economics.
Okay, so 6 months from now, we'll see where we are.
So that's 18th of what's the 9th month?
You're like our
September.
in-house Kelshi. Like
Yeah. 18th of September, come back here. We'll do an update live on the podcast. 18th September,
I put a calendar
and
update.
one of us will have a McDonald's meal during that podcast.
and can I just say, I don't need McDonald's.
Oh,
So let's just
multiple Coke Zeros.
just make it
7
yeah.
Coke Zeros.
I'm gonna get you a 44 liter. I'm gonna fill you a jerry can. With
And
Coke
also
Zero.
don't give me a fillet of fish, because that might be the healthier option, because that will be so expensive by then.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we go.
wow.
Seafood,
I'll
remember?
get you
go.
a quadruple Big Mac.
Now oil prices will
Need a
drop.
quadruple bypass if you do that. My cholesterol's high enough as it is.
The war will end. Trump will go in. This is my weird prediction. Based on nothing.
You're claiming that
No, war
troops
will
will
end.
be on the ground, US troops.
Potentially on one of the islands.
When you say troops on the ground, do you mean the Marines, or do you mean some special forces guys go in
don't know
and
the
try and get the
difference.
uranium?
I don't know. They'll probably try to get the uranium. That'll be great. But I mean more specifically
That's
on the
much more
ground.
likely, in my view.
Yeah,
that special
yeah.
forces.
There's
will be
one
used.
island which is like the home of Iranian oil.
Right.
That's been bombed to like.
You're talking about
Decimated.
the depot, the hub for,
Yeah.
like, is it Karg?
Karg Island. Yeah.
So 90% of Iran's oil goes out.
The refineries
via
are there,
Karg,
and that was
right?
built by the Americans before this war
Yeah.
ever started. So they know that place like the back of their hands, the
Sure.
Americans, because the Islamists can't build anything except bombs that don't work. And then
Oh, I thought they were building schools for girls.
no, I won't even comment. I reject. Anyway, they'll go up and then they'll just keep pumping oil so much that will come back down.
So much oil.
So much oil, will all and oil
Once the
will come
dust
back.
settles,
We'll be
Yeah.
swimming
if the
in it.
regime,
Yeah,
look, if the
exactly.
regime goes,
And
once-
Venezuela will keep pumping oil.
it needs to pump oil. That's part of the problem. That's
Yeah.
why we're going to be under a severe squeeze for a while here.
Because they won't pump.
Can
it.
They can't bring that oil online fast enough. That's,
Can I-
that's
can
the
I-
difficulty.
Can I take us just to the side a little bit here, Nick, and just get an insight?
Mm.
Do you wonder why you talk to us sometimes and why you sit here and,
These two idiots
and you let us talk?
speculating out of their
do you
ass.
honestly, do you get home and be like to
I
Tracy?
learn a lot from you guys.
Do
just
you?
on the side.
Yeah, a lot of what's the
what
wrong
not to
thing.
do. Yeah.
Because I'm like, sometimes I sit here
Your
and I listen
perspectives on things are so insightful. Yeah.
that you are very kind. Sometimes as Aaron and I speak, I wonder, if Nick regrets
Just
coming
Not
today.
at all. Not at all.
unsubstantiated, based on no facts, just vibes.
Just vibes. Yeah, we're just vibing it.
Very Green Party, just you know.
Yeah.
I've been accused of pretending to appearing to know more than I actually know. It's
You do
very
know
true.
more than-
How could they prove that, though? Well, gentlemen, we have talked for a long time, so
Yeah.
appreciate your views, your insights. Any
same.
final thoughts? Any final words? You don't want to fillet a fish?
I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm saying I probably shouldn't have it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And no, look, I think that people need to look beyond right now the costs just of what their fuel tank will cost to fill up. I think they do need to look at the really broad implications of what's happening with Iran, but not just look at it from an economic perspective. Recognize that the world will be safer if the uranium can be accounted for and taken out, or at least there's a different regime in place. How that happens, if it happens, I think it's not a foregone conclusion at the moment that it's definitely going to lead to the fall of the regime. But you don't know if you don't try, right? So I think just leaving it wouldn't be enough.
The solution is not to be like, we're not going to do anything.
No, but also recognizing that sometimes doing something you're not going to necessarily get the outcome you want.
The result you want, yeah.
And so I think people have got to be realistic on both sides that the stuff probably had to happen. It was going to happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get what we hope for.
Yeah, I would agree. My final thoughts? None. Zero.
Yeah, man.
I think you said it well. That was a dramatic pause, just for obviously theatrics and cinematics. Happy. Mr. Closer.
Mr. Closer, close the deal. Close the deal. We'll
The crow's getting me. The crow's so good.
Yeah.
Kent Mohammed.
He
Look,
doesn't even get it.
I know.
He doesn't get the joke.
Mohammed Kent, anyway.
Mohammed Kent.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, thank you all for listening. My message for the week is find peace. There's nothing more important. Look, we can talk about world peace, but ultimately, if there's no peace in your heart, it doesn't matter if there's world peace. So find some peace. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay in touch. Stay in tune. We'll see you next week.
Oh.